Legionnaires of the Lariat, welcome back, and we are here to predict AEW's Full Gear. Welcome, as always, for these prediction shows. We have the one, the only Hound, and we have my tag team partner, my brother in crime, Steve Zaft. How we doing today, fellas?
I was shocked I got introduced first. Haha, better than Steve. Love
Always.
it.
I don't think I've introduced Steve before you once since you've joined the program.
Well, then this is the first I have noticed it, and suck it, Steve.
Ranking order.
That is true. I don't think he has once. He's happier that you're here than I'm here.
Substantially.
That does track. But no, gentlemen, as always, an absolute pleasure to see you. I hope that your day has been filled with fun and frivolity.
Always is.
I watched a lot of wrestling today.
That tracks for this show.
Yes, that's where my life was at today.
But we're gonna get ready for another one of AEW's mega cards. So you have a bit more to add to your docket, Steven. We have, I think the main card as of right now is 8 matches. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw another 6, 7, 32 added to this as we go for the longest show of all times. I know AEW is looking for that record. Like always, I want to kind of ask you guys, what are you most excited about? What are you feeling here, Hound? What's really jumping out at you on this card?
Okay, I am very interested in 2 things in particular. I'm really interested in the tag team title match. I think there's going to be some Jamoken, obviously, because it is a 4-team thing. But I think we're going to have some really cool moments. And I'm really excited to see because I'm not sure. I have no solid pick at the moment. I'm still mulling that over. And I'm looking forward to the rematch of Hangman Page and Jay White. They did a fantastic job, showed their chemistry together. And I'm very interested to see what they're going to do with that, too. So those 2 storylines have a little bit of my attention.
Very cool. Very cool. Steven, what are you looking at?
Storyline-wise, I think Jay White versus Hangman is going to be awesome. I agree with Hound on that one. I also think Will Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher is going to be a really good match. Just for straight wrestling, MJF, Roderick Strong are going to go out there and put on a show. That's going to be a clinic of a match.
You guys really took them all before I got to go there and preview something different. But I'm with you. I agree with a decent amount of those. I think the one that I'm really interested in, because I'm really curious how AEW is going to ultimately handle them, is Bobby Lashley's debut. I think I've always thought he had so much potential, and I don't think WWE really tapped fully into it. They tried to push him, but it was always like a bunch of start, stop, start, stop, start, stops. And I'm curious how they use him because he could really turn into a monster here in AEW if they handled him correctly. He's 3 times the size of literally anyone else on this. Like if you watch this match closely to see how much bigger he looks than Swerve, and you know, height wise they're probably pretty similar. I haven't looked at the tail of the tape, but Bobby Lashley is just a freak of nature. So that's one. I'm just curious how they're going to go about that here. I will say maybe not what I'm most looking forward to, but a little disappointed in. Only one women's match. We don't have the women's title on this card. They're usually pretty good at putting them on here. So would have liked to have seen that kind of added at this point in time.
They're having Mariah May and Mina Shirakawa have their Champagne Championship celebration finally on this card apparently at some point. Allegedly.
So instead of a cool match, we get a promo.
We get a promo, which is probably going to turn into Mina versus Mariah.
Yeah. Do we get Tony back?
I mean, we should soon. They're doing the Grand Slam on Australia in February, so we're not that far out where I think we should be getting her back soon.
I miss Tony. I want her back. Well, let's start. We don't always do predictions, and it doesn't count for the countdown. But there's one on this card that none of us mentioned on purpose because we wanted to really start off with with a boom.
Boom.
Because friend of the show, I'm not even quite sure how to introduce him, as he has so many names that we know him by.
That's what he's wrestling as, just so you know. That name that's on there.
Yeah, no, I got that. I was gonna rattle a few of them off, but I think I'll stick with Big. Is it just Big Boom AJ?
It's Big Boom AJ.
No Eric Justice, no Tundra.
No Tundra, no Power Child.
Power Child's always my favorite. I do expect to see some sort of strength beyond strength on this one.
He needs to.
But Steven, being that you're probably out of the trio the closest with him, why don't you kick this off? What are you thinking about with the Big Boom versus QT Marshall?
So wait, real quick before we get into the match, how did you feel when he even elevated Power Child and he became the American Power Child?
There's just so many names. Tundra, Power Child of the North. Come on.
Yet none of us have ever called him by his legal government name. Not once.
Eric.
That's not even his real name.
Bad man.
Eric is a bad man. He cheats.
He cheats. As a superhero, he cheats. He taps into a mystical force that he can bring in more strength that is beyond strength.
It's like win. Thundercats. Sight beyond sight, strength beyond strength. It's the same thing.
You might as well just have a chair and hit it with a chair. It's the same kind of foreign object. I'm just saying. It's similar. But not here nor there. We joke because we love AJ over here on the show. So, but Steven, why don't you get in? Let's start this preview prediction on a high note.
I'm going with the boom. I'm giving it 5 big booms. Boom, 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 boom. I'm joining in. I'm gonna eat a double chunk chocolate cookie while I'm watching this, and AJ's winning this match.
Get that double chunk chocolate chip cookie, man.
I had one the other day. They're actually so good.
Oh yeah, the chicken bakes are where it's at when you go to Costco. Yeah, you try to eat 2 of those things, you're in heaven. Hound, where are you sitting here on this match?
So, QT Marshall should win this match. QT Marshall is not winning this match. It's going to be Big AJ. And I'm going to laugh and laugh. So, that's my pick.
It's funny because I came into this thinking I was going to be the only one that picked AJ because he got to, but it seems like it's going to be a clean sweep because there's no way to stop strength beyond strength or the Costco force, or what was it?
He's part of the Costco verse.
The Costco verse. That's what
he is now. We are all now members of the Costco verse.
I will say we didn't really preview this all that much. I'm absolutely ecstatic to see AJ back in the ring for this match. I'm so happy for him to have this opportunity to go out there and do one more time. Like he made it sound like when he was talking to you, Steven, that this is probably his final match. And we wish him all the best of luck. Bring the boom, AJ. Bring the boom.
I'm still saying the one thing I really hope, because Big Justice, his son, is going to be in his corner. I am hoping and praying that Big Justice is wearing like a slick style suit. Like if he could please just be wearing like a shiny like pimp suit, that'd be, oh my God, it's all I want in the world.
I feel like he seems a little bit classier than that. Something real dapper. But again, AJ, good luck, bud. We're all rooting for you.
We are all rooting for you. We all picked you. We got you on this one.
It's full support. It doesn't happen. It happens sometimes, but go for it. Hound, we're gonna kick off the show with you. We have this is in no particular order, obviously, but this is just kind of how we have it all set out. When we review it, we will put it in the proper order. But Hound, we have MJF versus Roderick Strong. What are you thinking here?
I'm very torn here. So I have gone on record a few times here saying M- MJF, he needs to win the vast, vast lion's share of his matches because beating him should mean something. I don't care if he doesn't have the big title. He's the biggest star they have. So if we're not going to have Adam Cole interfering, I think this is a situation where MJF wins. But I have a weird, weird feeling that Roddy is going to end up winning because Adam Cole's going to cost MJF the match. So I think I'm going to go that route and take Roddy.
I don't agree with you that Roddy could really use this win. I think it would mean an awful lot for him in general.
Yeah.
I root for him as well. He's a master of the backbreaker, and I really enjoy his matches and his wrestling style. He's kind of like built for my taste.
Yeah.
With all of that said, I don't see MJF losing this one. I think you're right on the first part of that, where he needs to continue to build this. Beating MJF needs to mean something. I don't see them immediately propelling Roderick Strong into any huge program or for a title or anything like that. Which a win here would do a big number for him. I get what you mean with the outside interference, and that is how he loses this match. But I even then, like, I don't think outside interference even ever really gives anybody the big rub that they need when it comes to, like, I beat him, but I got help. So I'm going to stay with MJF on this front. Steven, what are you thinking here?
So this storyline is just a little confusing coming into this. So it's one of those things where they were building this up as whoever got to the first 3 wins between Roderick Strong and Adam Cole was going to face MJF, and if they both got 3 wins in their first 3 matches, this was going to be a 3-way. I was convinced this was going to be a 3-way, unless I'm still standing by my theory that MJF should have been like, I'm ensuring this isn't a 3-way because I'm going to put your third match against each other. Like, that's the evil genius thing to do, right?
Yeah,
but he doesn't do that. Roderick ends up beating Lance Archer going into this, and then they put Adam Cole against Takeshita, and there's really no reason why Adam Cole should have beaten Takeshita. I think even with outside interference, I'm sticking with MJF on this one. I agree with you, Hound. I think Adam Cole is going to get involved in this, but I think it's going to be something where his stupid nagging injuries cause him to almost be a hindrance in the match.
I see where you're going with that, and you're both probably right, but I don't know. There's always some kind of just screwball that comes out of nowhere with these, and I think this is the spot for it. I think for the most part, outside of the tag title match, which we'll talk about later, I think everything else is pretty straightforward. But this has that uncertain element, so that's why, win, lose, or draw. I'm gonna go that route, and I'm glad so that way we don't all have the same picks.
I'm with you, Hound. I think if you look at this card from top to bottom, the one that everyone would be pretty certain on that I could see it being the upset is definitely this match. And then Steven, we were talking about the Adam Cole thing. I actually really like that decision. I like your storyline better, where having MJF pit the two of them against each other after that big build. That's diabolical, and I love every second of that. So let's just park that over here because that was the right route. But I actually kind of liked it because I feel like everyone just assumed it was going to be a 3-way when you set that stipulation up. And like what we always talk about is like subverting expectations in certain situations, like not breaking the rules, because that's not what it was. But I feel like this is one of those things where it's like, well, obviously it's going to be a 3-way because you set it up this way, and they both won their first 2 matches. It's clear what's going to happen next, and surprise, one of these guys just isn't in the match.
Yeah, like they should have had to wrestle each other. I think that's
that's better. I'm not arguing that.
If I'm going the evil mastermind, the Lex Luthor, that's what Lex Luthor would do, right? Like, I'm going to have you guys fight each other first, and then the winner of that gets to fight me.
And then they double pin. No, but then it's a 3-way. But I do like it when everyone expects one thing, and then they go the different route. So, all right, so we got MJF, and Roderick for Hound. So, for the next match here is we have part 2 of this Jay White versus Hangman Page. I really enjoyed this match last time that they faced off when they were in Seattle? They were in
That was Tacoma.
Tacoma?
It was in Washington State.
It was
Tacoma.
I really enjoyed the last time around when they went toe to toe. It was a really fun match. Some really cool reversals and whatnot to kind of bring it home. I'm assuming that we're going to get an even better match this time around. I think you're going to see some of those. I know you that so well that the things that you normally do don't work to like the 11th degree. I was wrong last time. I had Hangman Page. So this time I'm not going to go Jay White. I'm going to go Hangman. I don't see Hangman losing twice in a row. I didn't know where it was located in Swerve's backyard last time around, and if I would have noticed that before I made my predictions, it wouldn't have been wrong because those people, they didn't care who beat Hangman as long as he went down. So I'm going to go with Hangman on this front. Hound, where's your head at?
I also made the pick for Hangman Page last time, and I will follow suit here again and take Hangman Page. I think this feud is building towards something, and if you have Jay White, if you don't 50-50 this right now, you have no reason to continue it. And I think they're heading towards something, so just logic dictates. But then again, it is AEW, so who knows?
I also think that they're also going to try to build Page up again. It's going to be tough for someone to knock Moxley off his high horse. And you have that whole group feeling a little untouchable right now, and they're going to need some heroes. And even though Hangman, I don't know, date rape drugged somebody, like I don't know a better way to say it. Like he's still technically a face in his own eyes. So I think that I could see them kind of building him up. Him even making mints with Swerve throughout this program for them to take down. What do they call themselves now? What's Moxley's crew? His name is escaping me.
The Mox World Order. I mean Death Rider.
No,
The Mox World Order.
Right.
Mox World Order sounds better.
So that's what I kind of see this kind of a jump off for him going a little bit more face, a little bit more hero, anti-hero, whatever you want to call it. Steven, where's your head at?
So the last time we picked this, I actually got this right, and I picked Jay White. I'm actually joining your charge on this one. I think this is Hangman Page's match.
No,
I think
you already chose Page last time. You have to switch it this time around.
No, I didn't pick Page last time.
No, that's what I mean. You
Yeah.
Oh, damn it.
Yeah,
you gotta
see?
stick.
Yeah,
you gotta stick. Sorry, it's fine. Reset. This is AEW full reset.
Full reset.
So you have to stick with your previous one. You can't change now.
Exactly.
No.
Do it, coward.
No, I'm not. So they've made way too much of a. They've made a really big deal out of Jay White having Hangman's number. Like he according to them, like it's like 4 out of the last 5 times they faced Jay White's won. And I feel like I agree with you guys. If they're gonna go anywhere further with this feud, Hangman needs to win this one.
And you can't go back to back pay-per-views.
Unless they're putting Jay White in the world title picture after this. That's the only way that I could see him winning this again. But I don't think that's where we're going just yet with this.
No, and I'll see. I would expect there to be a blow-off match afterwards, a rubber match at the end. Cool. Now we have so next up we have the World Tag Team titles. We have Private Party versus the Outrunners versus the Kings of the Black Throne versus the Acclaimed. The Young Bucks aren't here because they are working from home at this moment in time, whatever that means. But Steven, I think you're up. What are you seeing here?
Oh, so many things are going to be happening. So many moves are going to be hit. So much Jamokin.
All the Jamokin.
I'm I'm claiming that the Outrunners are actually going to win the Jamokin title.
Okay.
I think there's a very good chance that this is the point that we see the Acclaimed split. They've been teasing it. I don't know if it's not here. I could see it being at World's End, which is next month's pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm.
But either way, they've been teasing it way too much about Max Caster maybe going to a MVP's group to the Hurt Syndicate. What do I want to happen? I want House of Black, Kings of the Black Throne, whatever World of Warcraft name we're giving them this week.
It's not more Game of Thrones to me.
Yes. But I want them to win this. Do I think they are? No. I kind of think Private Party is going to hold on to it just for, if no other reason, for AEW to prove they're not just transitional champions.
Mm-hmm. Counterpoint.
The team that should win this is 100% the Kings of the Black Throne.
That's what he said.
That's
not a counterpoint.
It's the same point.
Yeah, but I said it, so it's better.
Fair.
Bravo. I've never heard anyone say something like that. That's brilliant, Hound. Brilliant.
Oh my gosh. I hate the fact that I have to follow up and agree here. Now, what I would like to have happen, I would like to see the Outrunners win it, just because it would be cool to see them win it. I don't think they're going to. I think they will eventually. And I don't think we're going to be seeing a title change at this pay-per-view. So I do believe that it will be Private Party.
Well, I have a whole different take than you guys. This is whatever you said right now is ridiculous. So I'll tell you guys what. Do you know who should win this match? It should be the Kings of the Black Throne.
Oh my God! How did you come up with this idea?
But I think Private Party's going to retain. Yeah, I mean, it just makes it. I don't
I've
think
never heard
titles off.
How are you thinking so outside the box?
I'm just doing my thing here. I hope we're all wrong. See, this is where it counts, Steve. I do hope we're all wrong.
I do hope we're all wrong.
I really want them to do something with House of Black. They have such an opportunity. It looked like they were going to go that way with Malachi. Before Copeland got hurt, and then after he got hurt, it felt like he's being punished.
For Copeland jumping off the top of a cage.
Yeah, at like 50. Like that's not on it. That's not on Malachi by any means. So like that's just one of those things where I would like to see them get some kind of push. There has been rumors swirling about him leaving. So that's kind of one of the reasons I almost want to pick them in this match because of all those rumors. And then him coming out saying, everyone always thinks I'm leaving. I'm not going anywhere. I can see them giving him the title now to just squash all those rumors because AEW are the group, the federation or whatever you want to call them, the organization that overreacts to that kind of stuff, that would listen to that and overreact and give them the titles. Private Party was just building so much for this, and I think that it was such a feel-good moment. Taking the titles off them so quickly feels like a miss. We are talking about this reset of AEW, so getting the titles on a team that should have them, I could see that happening. So like I almost want to talk. I'm trying to talk myself into taking Kings of the Black Throne just so it's different, but I don't think I can because I do think that it sticks to Private Party.
I'm almost talked into taking Outrunners, but it's not going to happen.
No. And so definitely the Acclaim wins. That's
yes.
That's the takeaway.
Yes, and they are not breaking up at all, and both of them are going to join the Hurt Syndicate.
I mean, the Hurt Syndicate could use a tag team. Because like no one there seems like a tag team guy at this point in time.
Not until Swerve jumps over.
But who's the tag team?
Him and Shelton.
Really? I don't know. I think Swerve's too high for it. Shelton could be that guy, but even I think it's almost comical looking at him compared next to some of the other people in AEW.
Oh no, it's completely comical.
He's a monster. he does not need a partner right now.
You
As
mean
great as he is at tag team wrestling.
So I wanted to say before when you said it, how Bobby Lashley is 3 times the size of everyone else in AEW, except for the other 2 guys in the group that he's in.
Yeah. So we'll see how that all runs out. I agree. There's gonna be a ton of Jamokin. When you have this many people, I love it when you kind of keep the action going a bit. Do you know how are they gonna work this? Is it gonna be 2 people in the ring at a time, and when someone leaves the ring, there could be a new person? Like, is it
I'm
all out war?
I'm positive this is all out war. They don't do things like rules. You know that. Rules.
I mean, there'll be rules to start, and the beginning of it, they'll pretend like they're following it, and then it'll just.
I think all 4. I think a guy from each team is going to start off in the ring.
Okay, so there'll be 4 in the
guys.
ring, 4 outside the ring. It's like that's what I'm looking for here. Like, what do we think the dynamic of it's going to be?
I think that's going to be the start for about 2.3 minutes, and then how many are there? All 8 guys are going to be in the ring or outside the ring, Jamokin, after getting hit with 17 finishers.
I guarantee you, there's that 8 simultaneous moves out of nowhere spot where
I was going to say, how did you predict that?
Someone else came out here, someone else here, someone else here, and then that first person comes back and hits the last person.
And there'll be a giant Tower of Doom spot.
Yes.
Oh yeah, like a 6-person Tower of Doom spot because the other 2 guys are Jamokin on the outside.
Until Big AJ
chicken?
runs out and strength beyond strengths, all 8 of them.
Boom!
And him and Big Justice win the tag team titles. I can't believe we didn't think of this.
That's
genius.
Brilliant. Hound, I'm gonna move off this as we quit the ridiculousness here. Hound, I guess I know who you're gonna pick here, but we have Mercedes Moné versus Kris Statlander for the TBS title. What are you thinking here, bud?
So I still really think that the Mercedes Moné thing is a long, long play to get back to Willow, because that's where all of this stems from, the feud that occurred from the Indies and everything else going there. And the 2 of them do have really good chemistry together. Not that Mercedes Moné and Statlander are going to put on a bad match, because they're certainly not going to. It's going to be, will it be match of the night? No, but it'll be a good match. We're definitely in for something. And yeah, Statlander could win this match. I just don't think they're going to take the title off of Mercedes right now. As much as I don't think she should hold the title much longer, in fact, I think she should have lost it already. I don't think they're taking it off her yet. I think her character almost needs it right now. And if you pull the plug now, then all of this was for nothing.
I think Moné is the quintessential needs a title wrestler. Yeah. I think maybe not out of anyone on this card. Like Jack Perry feels very much like that too. As to take him serious as not Jungle Boy. I think that Moné, she needs the gold. Where it feels like a Hogan thing. Not that she's on the echelon of Hogan, but like Hogan without the title just looked weird. It's just missing that accessory. That's
no one wants to see that.
I mean, we saw Mike Tyson. I don't know if you guys saw the Mike Tyson fight.
Everybody saw it.
Because
that's right when the screen buffered again.
Yeah, it just froze there for a second. So I'm gonna agree with you here, Hound. I don't want to agree with you. Not that I necessarily want to see Kris Statlander win, but this feels like, again, what we were talking about with Roderick Strong, where of all the matches, Moné probably should and probably will win this. But I could see this being the one being like, this is so predictable. Let's just have Statlander go over and forget about the fact that you're 100% right, that it needs to go back to Willow. I want to see that match again. And like, I want to see them build that the right way to get back to Willow for this title. So I'm with you. I think it's Moné to retain. What do you think, Steven?
So I'm going to go with Moné on this one as well. It's Monet, like you said, I agree with you. I think she needs this belt. I agree with both of you. I think she needs this belt more than the belt needs her, even.
Mm-hmm.
And here's going to be the only place that I disagree with you guys a little bit. I agree with you that it should circle back around to Willow. Like, Willow should be the one that takes the belt off of her in a rubber match. The thing is one, Willow hasn't been on television. It's hard. It's hard to build it back up when she hasn't been there. Two, they're building this up already again. Like, this is MJF Wardlow. Me and Hound were talking about this on the other episode. And they're like, Mercedes just got Camille and she's already treating her like a peasant, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of those things, like, she dropped down from like China bodyguard status to hold my bags real quick. And I think the only way to kind of bounce her back up is to be the one that challenges for this belt and maybe gets it off of her. But as far as this match goes, Mercedes is absolutely keeping this belt. This is one of those situations where they're not. I feel like with her and Okada, that the bonus babies, as you will, like, they're the bonus babies that are never gonna let go of those titles. Like, I haven't seen Okada since the Bucks left, and we probably won't see him until we start seeing the Continental Classic tournament start this upcoming month.
He'll never defend that title. He's done it once or twice. I have it. I know what's going to happen in the TBS title match. They're going to go out. There's going to be a certain time, and then AJ is going to cash in Christian Cage's briefcase and bring the boom and win the TBS title.
Yes, equal rights.
Yeah, like,
and lifts.
It's open. But okay. So moving on with this one, we got the next match, which, like I said earlier on, is one of the ones I'm more excited about because I'm really curious how they handled this one. We have Swerve Strickland versus Bobby Lashley in his debut in AEW. I'm pumped. I'm pumped to see Bobby Lashley back in action. I gave that rundown earlier, so not to repeat myself too much, but I think he has a ton of potential. He does all the right things, has some great moves, is a natural in the ring. Like, I'm a fan of Bobby Lashley in general on what his potential could be. I don't think I've seen him used to the best way, and not that I overly am confident that AEW is going to do what's best for him in this situation. But I think Bobby Lashley definitely wins his debut match. It just makes sense. There could be shenanigans that brings that way to keep Swerve looking strong. But at the end of the day, I just don't know how Bobby Lashley loses his debut match. Steven, what do you think?
I'm with you on this one. I don't think Lashley loses this match. I don't think he should. And the only reason why, if this wasn't his debut, I'd be torn on this. Mm-hmm. Like, even if he had one other match, I would be like, oh, Swerve might win this. The other side of this is Swerve is kind of like the Teflon King right now. Like, he can do no wrong. Like, he can lose and still be hot tomorrow. He lost that match. He lost against Hangman. That was a big match, and he came back and he was still just as hot. I think Swerve stays this hot unless you give us a reason for him, like a real reason for us not to think he is this hot anymore. Mm-hmm. So I think he can lose this match. I think this is going to be the start of something even bigger between Swerve and the Hurt Syndicate. I think there's a very, very real possibility that by the end of this whole thing, we do see Swerve joining them and kind of, and like being like, well, I wasn't able to get, like, I think it's going to be something where they take out like Prince Nana or something like that. And it's like, well, I didn't have it in me to get rid of Nana because he's family, but you guys took him out, so it's okay. Like, I'm okay with this. Now I'll go with you guys.
That was a little bit of a stretch if that's the order of operations in that situation of them getting rid of Prince Nana. But I could see him, I could see that him joining this ultimately in some way, shape, or form.
Because what I just said is the most absurd thing AEW's ever done.
No, not at all. And since Swerve can go from face to heel like this, it's I've seen weirder things. Like in my head, I'm like talking myself into, maybe they can go that route. Hound, you're clearly going to go with Swerve Strickland here because we both went with Bobby. So, what are you thinking?
So, yeah, you're debuting Bobby Lashley, who is he the most decorated coming over from WWE to TNA? I believe he is. Or not TNA, excuse me, to AEW. I believe Lashley is, isn't he? He's like a 3 or 4 time world heavyweight champion.
He's 2-time for WWE, and I think he's 2 or 3-time for TNA.
Yeah, so...
does ECW count?
Yeah, he was technically ECW champion.
He was ECW champion, and he was like he's what, a 2-time US champion?
Yeah.
He's a 3-time US champion. He's got some chops. Like it's
that's what I said earlier was like they've tried to push him, but I feel like it's always been a start stop kind of thing.
I honestly think, and again, this is us kind of gushing over it again. I think TNA used him the best.
Mm-hmm.
They had him lose when he should lose, but they had him have classics with guys like Kurt Angle. Like, let's just have the 2 amateur wrestlers go out there and wrestle.
But the only one I'd argue you, and I don't know his accolades list, but CM Punk would be the other one that I would compare, like what he has done. Because was CM Punk ever ECW champion? He was definitely WWE champion.
Yes.
So and he's held multiple titles along the way. So it's probably pretty close. But
I mean Copeland and Christian.
Yeah.
They're realistically they're probably but Lashley's probably the one that can go the best right now.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like still in his prime.
Yeah, like it's funny because he's not super young, but he's just unaged.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So back to
Hound.
Yeah.
That's why I paused, because that's where we're circling back to. You asked the question, and I love how those questions unravel. It's like this person is probably the most this. Let's go down the list on why that's not the case. It's not the first time that's happened.
So I think Swerve comes out of this looking fantastic. I don't see a world in which Lashley loses his debut match, especially since, Shelton and MVP are going to be out there. I'm hoping it's not something where there's shenanigans where, Shelton does something that causes Swerve to lose. I almost hope Swerve passes out to the Hurt Lock. Don't tap, but pass out. And Lashley is my pick. But if Swerve was going to win, it would be with that whole spot where Lashley locked that in and Swerve rolled backwards and like half bridged himself and pinned Lashley while he had him in that. But I don't think they're going to do that right now. And I'm excited for this because we're going to get to see Swerve in there with a true super heavyweight powerhouse. And let's see how this goes, because Lashley's going to go out there and do his thing, and Swerve is going to sell like crazy. And with them being the same height, just not the same weight or width, it's going to be it's going to look impressive, everything that Lashley does. And when Swerve does mount his offense and inevitably does hit Lashley with a big move where he gets him up in the air, it doesn't look super unbelievable. So I'm real excited just for the visual of this. Not to mention, I think they're going to do just fine. This is going to be a great match. But again, Lashley's going to win this.
Couldn't agree more. This is getting boring. There's only been one pick that Hound made that's the opposite of everybody else. Let's see if this next match does it. I think if there's another match on this card that could sway, it's this one. And so Steven, what are you thinking here, bud?
All right, I think I'm going to be oddball on this one, because Hound said that he doesn't think that any title is going to change. I think this title might change hands. I think they're ready to push Daniel Garcia. I don't know if Daniel Garcia is ready to be pushed. And I don't know if the right move is necessarily to take this title off of Jack Perry right now. He's been doing actually some decent work with this belt right now, but they're kind of grooming this as Daniel Garcia being one of these guys that's like gung ho AEW, which means he's got to get killed by the Mox World Order at some point. And the only reason to kill him would be him holding on to this belt.
I actually had a thought for that as well. I'll hold that one until Hound throws his prediction out.
Yeah, I like I said, I just think it's going to be Daniel Garcia. I think it's going to be Daniel Garcia. I also hold true that I could very much be wrong on this one, and but I'm sticking with Garcia. I just think, especially with the rest of the elite not being there, and like Garcia's been kind of getting got Perry's number recently. I could see this being a situation where they finally let someone get over on him.
What do you think, Hound?
Okay, so for the very same reason you just mentioned is the reason why I think Jack Perry wins. Because Daniel Garcia has been getting the better end of those exchanges as of late. That's kind of classic storytelling when it comes to wrestling, where it seems like you have the number, but they don't. And if you were to have Jack Perry lose this while the rest of the elite is not there, you have to be setting up a storyline where it's the fracturing of the elite. And I don't think they're doing that yet. Because if you do that and the Bucks and Okada and all that aren't there to help Jack Perry out, then what the hell is the point of that faction? Kind of thing. And those are the reasons why I do think Jack Perry's going to keep it.
It's definitely an interesting one. I'm gonna have to go side with Steven on this one. I think I'm gonna go with Daniel Garcia because they are trying to push him. But Steven, this is what you were saying a second ago. I think that Daniel Garcia wins this because the Blood Riders, Death Riders, stop changing your names, guys. Like you already had a name.
The Mox World Order.
The Death Riders are going to come in and cost Jack Perry this match.
Oh, wait a minute. I just had a thought.
You steal my thought? Mid-thought?
Jack Perry doesn't lose this title, but he might lose the match.
I could see that as well. My thought process here was that having them come in cost Jack Perry this match. I think you need some sort of title change somewhere along the lines here. Having no title changes is boring, particularly when they're talking about resetting everything. But I think this is a good spot because if you're talking about taking back AEW because it was dying, the reason you pin it on is the elite. Like they were running their own interests. This is the perfect opportunity to have the Death Riders come in, blame the elite, and start that feud. The elite are hiding from them. That's the reason why the Young Bucks are working from home. That's the only thing that makes sense in this, and it's going to be what they end up building up towards a big, massive feud in the near future. I think it has to happen relatively soon before people get too bored of this, or until AEW gets bored of their own storylines and deviates. So this is the perfect opportunity to cost Jack Perry a match and kick and ignite that feud.
I see what you're saying. I just don't think we're going to get the MWO with the elite just yet.
No, it's not yet, but this could be. I think this is the beginning of it. I think they're going to have to strike on the iron's hot on that. Like if they're really going to knock this down.
I'm glad I'm picking different than you guys, and I really don't care if you guys clean sweep it and I get the two wrong because I'm not afraid to take a chance and look silly. But the whole thing is, and I see what you're saying. It's one of those where You're right, but I think you're early.
The AEW changes its mind on things constantly, and a quick pivot to this makes a lot of sense. And I'm not backing up. And Hound, don't worry, I'll never make fun of you for falling behind in the rankings like I do, Steven. So you're good. You're in good
listen,
shape.
we're all wrong. Big AJ wins the TNT title.
Boom!
There it is.
Hits him with a double chunk chocolate cookie.
He's won a lot on this card. Like, he's collecting some shiny objects. Great transition. We need now a boom transition, I think, on certain things for the show. But I'll kick it over to you, Hound. We got Will Ospreay versus Kyle Fletcher in a blood feud. The biggest surprise that happened. This actually happened. I'm not saying at Wrestle Dream, right?
Yes.
When Kyle turned his back on his longtime friend and went actual heel in that heel stable. So kudos for that move. But Hound, what are you thinking here?
I think this is the kickoff match to what will be a several match thing between Fletcher and Ospreay. And because of that, the feud, I don't think, carries forward with the same momentum if Ospreay wins.
I agree with that. I was going to go Ospreay, but you might have just talked me to switch it.
Okay, so I am going to take Kyle Fletcher because I think it's smart. I think Ospreay wins the feud in the end, whether it's 5 matches, whatever it is, but I think the feud starts with the Kyle Fletcher win.
Man, oh man.
I think we all have Kyle Fletcher, huh?
Yeah, I was gonna go Ospreay until those magical words left your lip. Because if this goes multiple and like shenanigans, Takeshita comes out
shenanigans
and hits it with a ring or something like that. Like
Mike, you may not be aware of this. There is a blood feud building between Takeshita and myself, and they are in our home state. If I have to, Takeshita,
you won't tell it.
You're right. It's hilarious to me because this poor, wonderful Japanese man has no idea that some idiot in Burlington County is just feuding with him.
Just that he's like, Hound's like, I'm going to throw a Lariat and cut him in half.
Steve started the whole thing.
Of course I did.
We do know someone that's going to be there. Might be able to help you get a little closer. And maybe drop the boom.
Good Lord. This has been one of the most fun prediction shows.
That's what we're here for. We're just here for fun. I hope the listeners out there appreciate that and you're laughing with us here. So that was, I really was going Ospreay until you kind of set it up that way. And that makes sense with the feud math. Kyle Fletcher should definitely win this one moving forward. If they're going to go multiple matches, there's no reason why this one, they have so much history. The way they built it up, it was not for a one blow off kind of match. I think it's interesting that this is where Ospreay is kind of living right now. I feel like he should be kind of be in a bigger spotlight. And you talk about those, what you call them, bonus babies earlier, Steven?
Bonus babies.
He technically is one of them, and
he's one of them.
He's the oddball.
He's the only one who's actually doing work.
Yeah, who's wrestling. And I bet you, a lot of this probably has to do with what's in their contract, like how many dates, where Okada was probably like, you get 7 dates from me. And Ospreay was like, I'll wrestle every show, bruv. Isn't that what a contract's for? Yeah, let's do this. Because I feel like he wrestles every night. Because he's afraid of the grind.
He's afraid of the grind. Yes,
that's what it is. It still plays. Steven, you got anything you want to add here? I know I haven't kicked it to you yet.
So obviously there are going to be shenanigans. I'm gonna throw this one out here, and I know Hound and I are the AEW guys of the trio right now. Hound, what do you think about maybe Mark Davis double crossing him? double crossing Ospreay. I asked you that like the rest of the crowd, like the rest of the Legion knows who Mark Davis is. No one knows who Mark Davis is, but he's the other member from Aussie Open. Just so everyone knows. He's had a grand total of 2 matches in AEW, and then the rest of the time he was either injured or spent his time on Ring of Honor.
I don't think there's a need for that right now. If you're going to do that in Australia.
They just did that as well. The last match. That's kind of overdoing it. Let's keep double crossing Ospreay so he has trust issues.
Yeah, that's one of those where it's like like it's like we got it. We got it.
Don't worry, Will, I got your back. And then knife to go with it. I'm pumped for this match though. I think it's gonna be a really good one. This is probably match of the night, I'm assuming.
I think so.
At the end of the day, that's what Ospreay does. These 2 guys are going to put on a barn burner.
And I've been really impressed with Kyle Fletcher lately too. He's really impressed me with how he's transformed his body of work, just everything. This is going to be a really good match.
I thought you were going to keep going, but like how he changed his body of water. I thought you were going to keep going.
I mean, he has. He's actually he's changed the way his body fits into now the brief tights, which he stole from his girlfriend Sky Blue. So when he turned heel, he really did. I feel like look different. Like he I feel like he aged too. Like he looks older now. Well, I think it's the shaved head now too. Like he shaved his head. He's a lot more trimmed up. He's got the full sleeve tattoo. Like a lot of the stuff is just working.
So we'll see. We'll see how this all comes out. I could still see Ospreay winning, but I don't see them going on a multiple match thing if Ospreay wins. That would just be kind of one and done and then move on. So Fletcher across the board. Steve, we're at risk of parity here. And in our main event, we have Jon Moxley, the champion, the world champion, versus Orange Cassidy. Who knows? Who cares? This one, I mean, we've been talking about the Mox World Order all night. There's no way Moxley loses this belt. Whoever has creative freedom has the title. I feel like these days in AEW, we went from the Elite and we're going to pass that power over to Moxley so he's going to book himself as the world champion. I think we got a little bit of a run with him in this. I do like the storyline where he thinks he's the savior of AEW. That's really compelling for me on him coming in here. And even though he's clearly the heel trying to do what's right, I think is a fun way to spin that tale. And like him taking Bryan Danielson or Daniel Bryan off the card, ending his career for now. There's no way he doesn't come back. I just think that there's a lot to build in this situation. Steven, what are you thinking here?
It actually hurts my soul a little bit that I feel like this. If Tony was in charge of booking and Moxley wasn't in charge of creative the way he is, I could legitimately see them putting the world title on Orange Cassidy.
I'd like to see it.
I don't. and I don't even hate him as much. And I don't even hate him as much as I used to. Like, it's not that all of that hatred that I used to have towards Orange Cassidy has been transplanted to Tony Schiavone.
Yeah, fair enough. There's only I can only hate so much.
Yeah, like I'm not the emperor. Like, I don't live in hate. Like, I like some of the stuff that Orange Cassidy has been doing lately. At the end of the day, the guys that they have going after the Mox World Order still, they're not viable threats. And I don't care how wildly popular Orange Cassidy is. I'm not even taking that away from him. What I'm saying is at the end of the day, he should not be viewed as a viable threat to this monster heel group. And Moxley should win this match at the end of the day. So I'm going Moxley as well.
What do you think, Hound?
So I've got
I hate the fact that I said they could put Orange Cassidy in the title.
No, I've got a very, very unique thought right now.
Bring it.
Okay. Orange Cassidy is just not a viable threat for this monster heel.
Oh my God. What?
Extremely original.
Hey, wait, whoa, we did this bit already.
Wait, is this what we've said for weeks on end now?
So, if anybody who's listened to the shows that Steve and I do, where we talk about NXT and AEW, I'd been saying we need to give this whole Mox World Order Death Riders, and you know, you're welcome for the me coining the MWO phrase for you, Steve, at the start of it.
MWO.
It's fantastical, but it needs time to cook, and the problem is the ingredients they're putting in it are making me not interested, unfortunately. If they take the title off of Moxley right now, it is the dumbest decision they have ever made, and they've made a lot of dumb decisions. There's just not a world where Moxley loses this. Now, I think Orange Cassidy's going to look good. In the end, I think we'll have some shenanigans, but it's going to end with a bulldog choke. And, you know, Orange Cassidy with the crowd feeling heartbroken and everything else while he lies there lifeless.
And Cassidy's not going to tap out. That's going to be the other thing. He's going to be another one of these guys that doesn't tap out. There's going to be like 3 guys on this show that don't tap out.
He's going to pass out with the weak thumbs up that he does to the crowd. Like, that's how it's going to go out.
I would like to see Orange Cassidy care by the end of this match.
Yeah.
So that's been somewhat the story that they're telling, is he does care. I don't mind, like, I don't even mind the fact that he's the heart of AEW at this point. It's still the fact that you can be the heart, and I still don't see you as a threat. Like, not to this group. When you're 6 inches smaller than everybody, and what's more is it's not just Moxley, you know, doing death jitsu. They're painting Claudio as a monster, which I'm really happy about.
Which I dig, yeah.
Yeah, like how Hound put it, Claudio hit Darby Allin with a building last week.
Mm-hmm.
He literally picked up the building and hit Darby with it. Okay, technically he picked up Darby and hit the building with him, but still, he used the building as a weapon.
Darby was asking for it.
Well, and then there's just a visual that happened where I don't know which one of the 2 tiny little skinny professional wrestlers Claudio had, but he gorilla pressed them, sprinted, and launched them into the turnbuckle from the outside. And not just launched them, I mean, if he didn't pull up a little bit, he would have shot putted them over it. Where you say, oh, I don't know my own strength.
Well, and like I said, Darby's not the biggest dude in the world, but he still carried on what had to be 200 feet and ran and just sprinted with him into the garage door of the building and then dropped him into the swing and then swung him into the garage door. And I was like, yeah, okay. So he's dead, but he's not because he's Darby Allin.
Yeah, he'll peel himself off and get hit by a bus.
Ooh, just realize what's going to happen.
A sling.
While all this is going on, Big AJ's coming down and taking the title from Moxley.
Boom!
Does Cage get involved at all?
He takes the title off of Cage, or takes the not money in the bank briefcase from Christian Cage, because Christian Cage says, Power Child, Eric, Tundra, Justice, Big AJ, Costco, I should be your father. And he strength beyond strengths it away from him.
It's fair. Give me a strength beyond strength.
It's cheating.
I would like to see Orange Cassidy. The way you dropped that earlier, I would like to see Orange Cassidy win this match. And care. Like, no hands in the pockets. Just care about saving AEW. So that's the prediction show. So, Steven, you and I completely agree. I don't like it.
I don't like it either.
How it has 2 different picks on us. No, not at all. This is my theory. This is how I wanted to do it.
This is what he's going to do.
You know? I make the rules. We all are bringing the boom. With AJ in the pre-show. We all have... Steven, you and I have MJF, and Hound has Roderick Strong. We all have Hangman Page going over on Jay White. We all have Private Party going over for the retaining the World Tag Team titles, even though we all think the Kings of the Black Throne should win it. We all have Mone retaining against Kris Statlander. We all have Bobby Lashley winning his debut match against Swerve Strickland. We have Steven, you and I both have Daniel Garcia going over on Jack Perry to win the TNT title. We all have Kyle Fletcher beating Will Ospreay, surprisingly enough. I'm curious if anyone else is picking it that way.
I thought I was going to be the oddball on this one.
Well, Hound made too good of a case with one sentence, and that'll always get me. Short and sweet and makes sense. There's nothing I could do. Almost the opposite of the Hound. He's tall and sweet. A little bit, not short and sweet, but big and sweet.
And he's getting a fight to Keshta.
Because he deserves it.
Yes.
And then we all have Moxley going over on Orange Cassidy, but who cares?
But really, big AJ.
Oh. And again, I do care. I'm just trying to do my best Orange Cassidy impression. I have my hands in my pockets. Whatever. Legion, let us know what you think. We had a lot of fun tonight, as you can tell. Put your comments down below. Give us your picks. Tell us where we're right. Tell us where we're wrong. Tell Steven to stop copying me every single time I take a pick. It's unbecoming, Steve. And you should
tell us why you think Big AJ is going to win the world title.
Yeah, figure out. Give me a storyline where he does, and it makes sense. I'll take that. That'll be fun. This was incredibly fun, guys. I love hanging out with you. Legion, thank you for being with us again on another one of these prediction shows. And Steven?
As always, guys, remember, tuck your chin when you bump. Boom!